Which woman lost her virginity first? This is a really interesting topic. I'm really loving this channel from Jubilee. Honestly, I should have commented on it, but I'm too nervous to actually say something because I figured that if I would comment, then my comment would be ignored, or people may thinking I might be just a penis head. Just because I want to just share my thoughts, at least from, I guess you could say, a boy's point of view, right? And I just thought I could actually just talk about this video from their channel that they just posted yesterday. It is titled "Who Lost Their Virginity First? Women Rank Themselves." So for the ones that have been clicking on the penis video, because apparently that one, well, I think people have been viewing away because it had like a 3% audience retention, which I guess is understandable, but most of my viewers are from external search. I don't know how the heck that works. But I'm guessing since people keep viewing that video I did of the male version, I thought I can actually do the female version. So for the ones who are new here, my name is Deon, and welcome once more. Hope that you've been viewing my videos if you have done so already. And also, great news, my brother actually bought me some food from Walmart. He got me 3 packs of chow mein beef noodles. Not my favorite, but you know what? It's something to actually last so that I will at least have some food in my body. And he also bought me, Deon, what was it? I already have one in the oven right now. 3 packs of Totino's Supreme Pizza. So at least I'll have something to eat. And also another pack of oatmeal cookies for me to snack on for the weekend, just to hold me a little longer. So besides that, after I finished watching this video all the way through, this is really educational, and I forgot to actually censor the numbers because I don't want to spoil it for the ones that have not viewed it yet. But if you probably are viewing this a week from now, thank you a lot if you basically have, and hope to Buddha that my voice isn't irritating, because this is all I can actually do at the moment. This was something else, because after seeing this, I'm not going to spoil it, but basically, I was kind of shocked that basically a couple of the girls, they got their virginity, I guess you could say a healthy age, if you actually ask me. How can I explain this? A teen age, right? I'll probably spoil for one of them though. But basically, what I actually have learned, I don't remember all their names because I gotta look back on the video. But basically, you have the small. You have this. It's amazing how they're on different heights too, even though they are wearing some tall heels. You got the short black girl, and then you got Sydney, Christina, Stephanie, whom I think was my favorite from how she talked. The other short white girl in the blue shirt. You got Nikki, the Aussie woman, or Aussie girl, excuse me. And last, but you know what, not least important, Amanda, whom actually, spoiler, is the oldest. So after viewing this, it's fascinating to see how, from a woman's point of view, it is quite similar to a man's point of view. Because after hearing about Christina's story, basically the goth girl, because she is dressed as a goth, not mistaken for emo. Big difference, by the way, because goths usually dress black. Even I feel I have a goth side. Basically, what I actually have learned from her is that she grew up being Mormon, she said, which is kind of fascinating because I remembered in our old townhouse, we actually had neighbors. We didn't really talk to them or anything. They were really kind, I'm sure. But we just didn't talk to them. They were Hispanic, though. I know that for sure. But basically, they were Mormon themselves. And what people actually don't know about Mormonism, I don't know that much about myself, is that they're really strict when it comes to not drinking alcohol, not having sex until marriage. So similar to like Muslims in a way, or I think it's Muslims, right? I hope I got that correct. And also this not like doing anything sexual and whatnot. I think I remember like seeing a wife swap episode that the boy actually had to go on a date with this girl with his mother, which is kind of embarrassing because he's like much old enough to actually do so on his own. I think it was like 16 or something. But basically that is how it's like for Mormons, because they're really strict when it comes to like sexual stuff and whatnot, which is kind of fascinating. And I can actually relate to her in a way as well, because growing up, right? Because I just wanted to say this. I mean, I already said it though. I have it on my Instagram for anyone that may be curious to view my page, even though I'm no longer active. That's because I've been cyberbullied and being hated by a lot of people. But the thing is that I grew up in a Baptist household, right? And my mother's boyfriend, his name is Chris, by the way. He was like a hardcore Christian. And what I mean by a hardcore Christian, he is so obsessed with church, right? He would go on not only on Sundays, but Saturdays. He would always listen to like God of the Highest or something like that. We went to this church. It's called CCV, which is Christ Church of the Valley. It was up in Peoria. So you can say it's the white neighborhood of Phoenix, right? Definitely a little different than where we live currently. Excuse me, I just burped. And the thing is that he would just kind of pressure me. I'm not kidding. Like, I wasn't comfortable. I mean, he did change, though. He did later understood. Actually, hold on. I gotta turn... Oh, damn it. I didn't meant to turn it off. Crud. Because I have my pizza cooking in the oven. The thing is that he would kind of pressure me to do, let's just say, like, a front and back page essay of what I learned from one of the sermons, right? And one of them would be the same ones. I did not like doing this because during the summer, he would basically pressure me to actually be a Christian and whatnot. I did not like it. I did not. You know, I did not like it. He would not want me to leave the room unless I'm done writing down the sermons and what I learned from the Bible, of the verses and whatnot, right? I mean, God almighty, I don't understand this. I'm not religious, by the way. I grew up with that, right? So I understand for anyone that's Christian themselves or even Catholic, you know, because there is like a spectrum of like Christian, I forgot what the heck it's called. I know someone uploaded a video about it, about religious stuff, right? Because you got, of course, Catholic, Baptist, which is what I grew up in because my mother's a Baptist herself. You know, you got Protestant, etc. It's like around that group, right? Or Orthodox as well. So I grew up on the Baptist, but mostly Christian side, which I didn't like, right? And that is basically what I had to go through growing up. And also, he didn't like how I watched, I guess you could say, a couple of gay shows, because this is where I had to learn about like gay sex and whatnot. Because my school, especially since it was like a D plus average, I'm not kidding. That's how awful the education was. Because believe it or not, I do live in, you could say, one of the worst states for education. I'm sure, let alone sex education. I had to learn all this on Pornhub myself. I remember watching this show called One Girl and Five Gays, when this girl would interview like 5 different gay men, right? I thought that was really cute. And I think I was like 17 or 18 when I watched it, I think. I know it's like a young adult, or at least about to be a young adult. It's been a long time. Maybe not that young. I think it's probably like 18 or to 20 or something around there, right? And he didn't like how I would watch those and he would delete it. He wasn't homophobic. It's just that, I don't know. Maybe he doesn't like me learning about sex ed or something like that. I learned this stuff somewhere else, right? Because my school didn't taught me that. And, you know, I didn't like him a lot for it because he was a little bit strict with the stuff, even though he did later change and become more understanding. I know he was trying to be a quote father figure, but, you know, he wasn't really supportive at that, so to speak. But, you know, that's just something that I learned from Christina's side, and for Stephanie's side. She basically lost her virginity to her husband. And if because I don't think I ever want to get married, being in a relationship, I do not know. Because since I am, yes, asexual, right? Or you could say homoromantic. Someone, yes, I'm coming out as homoromantic. Someone that is I guess you could say affectionately attracted to the same sex, but you do not like sex, right? That's what being homoromantic, or you could say homoerotic would be, because I do not like sex and romance. That's a slight chance that I may be involved in that, right? And basically for Stephanie, um, so she's in the middle. I'm also despoiled. She lost her virginity at 22, which is definitely, actually it doesn't matter what age you lose your virginity, as long as you are, I guess you could say, old enough or consent to it. I think that's why, like, how, like, in certain countries people tend to thinking that you can have sex with someone that's 13. Not right. But the thing is, for kids around that age to have sex with kids their own age, right? That makes sense for teens. If I can actually put that in more detail, there's something wrong with that. Like for me, if I want to lose my virginity to a boy that's 16 and I'm 17, right? That's what it means. Or let's just say it's like, to make it more better, if he was 15 and I was 17, right? Like 14, I don't know. Even though they're both underage, even though one it's like, I guess you could say much older, right? It's hard to explain it because I don't know. I mean, as long as they're not too young, I suppose. I don't know. I think as long as they do it someone their own age, if it is kind of young, then I don't know. It's really hard to explain it, but for someone like me, I'm also come on this. Stephanie's story was really cute, by the way, and she said that she waited, like, I think 8. Well, she lost her virginity in 22, but she's been with her husband for 8 years. I wasn't paying attention at that part, because I'm not gonna remember names, but I was just trying to pay notice to her story more. For me, I am a virgin. And yes, that's because I'm ace. Does that mean I cannot have sex? Yes, I can have sex. It's just I do not like sex. That's one thing. And also there's a spectrum of people that are aces, that would have sex with their partners. A lot of people don't understand that. It's just that we don't have that attraction. I'm trying to understand it myself, because for me, I do find it very attractive depending on whom he is, but I just don't want to have oral or anal sex with him. And the reason why I say that I'm still a virgin is because, well, what happened in my childhood, I know how to explain this. It was unconsensual, plus I was an infant. And also, the first experience I had, if I actually remember, with a boy, I think, um, oh yeah, I remember, it was in high school. Let's just say that he pressured me, right? And I liked him, and his name was Carlos, and he was me. Let's just say that it didn't end up well, to the point I felt I wanted to die by suicide. I even posted my fake book, and boy, the whole school was concerned I would end up taking my own life, because he took advantage of me. Let me check my pizza very quick. I deeply apologize. All right, it's burning up a little bit. I'm putting it down to 200 degrees. Because I had like at 425. The thing is that he said that you're young, I'm young, and you got plenty of time to wait. But the thing is that I was older than him by like maybe 7 months, right? Not even a year. And I met him on this, believe it or not, dating site, right? I don't think it's there anymore. I think it's called Date Me, I think. Because I'm still trying to, like, learn about this site myself. Because I think there are adults with teens on there. I think there's, like, an age range or something. This is back in early 20 teens, right? So dating was much better back then than it is now. Not counting Grindr. But the thing is that basically his boyfriend was on there. And I felt crushed, because I still remembered. So I'm gonna get some flashbacks. When I went to his house, because one of my cousins actually decided to drive me to his house. I stayed there. Oh my gosh, I'm getting flashbacks. I stayed there overnight, right? He only had one bed, and, well, we didn't sleep together, I think. It's been I don't remember how the hell this worked. He just had a small bed. We didn't sleep together because he lived with his grandmother, right? If I actually remember. It was a nice, like, Mexican household, right? And he did have a computer. I think it was like a Dell or something. And he was able to watch movies on there. And I remember the first movie we watched was Beetlejuice, right? Tim Burton's Beetlejuice. I remember, that scene after basically the couple, like almost hit that dog and they, like they're crossing that barn, right? Or in that little town. And just hearing that music and all, um, after that scene, he basically decided to kiss me. And I did, right? I was scared because he was kind of hot. He was average height. So, and he looked older than 17, by the way. He looked like in his early 20s. And yes, he had facial hair, he had a beard. I mean, what do you expect? He's 17, right? He's practically a grown man. Um, well, we both were. Even though we're still underage, but still like 17, right? Um, Basically, I liked him. And I still remembered that one night, because we stayed up for hours. And I remember checking my Samsung Stratosphere phone that my cousin was supposed to pick me up, right? I think it was like at night. And I remembered I wanted to give him a hug, and I no longer came in contact with him because he was dating a boy behind my back, right? And I still remember that incident. He gave me the massage. I forgot to mention that, did I? Like, he gave me like a massage. It felt great and all, and I liked him. I even wanted to change my fake book status into a relationship, right? Because, oh wow, like this boy, I liked him. Plus, he did like dress feminine too, but I didn't care about that. I remember seeing one of his Facebook photos because he even let me accept his friend request, right? Um, that he was wearing a dress and whatnot. I guess you could say he did have a feminine side. Let me turn off the oven again. I have to apologize. I think it's cooked. Or maybe a little bit more. But basically, that is kind of how. Well, I wouldn't say lost my virginity because we did have sex. We didn't. We just kissed, and I guess it was considered making out in a way, but I don't know. It just was a horrible experience, right? Yes, I can't believe it. I want to say I never kissed anyone because, I mean, I was nervous. I know I was not ready, but he kind of like pressured me in a way. So that's why I don't consider it as consensual. But I just along with it because I know he didn't mean any harm. It's just kissing, right? Nothing, like no sex involved. Plus, I did like him, so it wasn't like 100% consensual. Maybe like 70% consensual, right? And that's how I developed trust issues. I think it was Nikki, the Aussie girl in the gorgeous pink dress, said that she basically had like an awful experience with men herself because of how the men that she, I guess you could say, hook up with, right? He was married. And that's a huge issue in the gay community as well because you have men that, especially they may grow up in like strictly religious households, right? That they had to hide their sexuality um, from their parents or their family in general by dating a girl, which is definitely not fair on their part, but on the girl's part, right? And out here where I'm from, that is also an issue. And I can relate to that because I do have deep trust issues. I'm afraid that I may get, yes, raped because I am a rape victim. Just to share that, and a survivor because, yeah, the reason why I say survivor is because I could almost die due to, you know, infections that I basically got caught. And if I didn't went to the doctor sooner, I probably would be really sick to this day, or I probably wouldn't be alive. I think, yeah, it's 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 not bad, right? Not like I had the HIV, right? But something similar to that, to the point it would not be curable if I didn't went to the doctor sooner. So yeah, that's what happened to me. Sorry about that. I mean, if for any of y'all might be interested, I could probably share about that story later in the future. But this was a really cute episode because the girls really express, their emotions of how they basically, first done things with a boy and how their mothers taught them about sex at a younger age. It just sucks that I had to learn all this my own though, because my school didn't taught me, and being part of the so-called LGBT community. Yeah, I didn't say the word T, right? Because I figured trans, especially after I've been hearing that they got their own community now, right? Um, that I'm like, I consider myself as being this in the ace community, gay community, not so much because I had awful experiences, and most of my orientation is on the ace side. That actually makes sense, right? So I still like boys, but not like really for sex wise. Like romantic wise, it's extremely rare. It depends. Like for me, I already got my heart crushed by one boy that I mentioned eons ago that lied twice about his age, and we texted for like 12 hours and whatnot, and he would even like basically send me videos of him like stretching on the chair wearing like a small shirt and showing his his stomach and his navel. And let's just say that I gotten aroused when he did that. He was tall too, and he was tough. He's Asian, right? So I loved him even more. um I felt crushed that he didn't tell me this sooner, and he said that it was my mistake that I gotten abused growing up and not having any friends, which I don't have any, and he blamed it on me. Right? Yet again, he didn't tell me his age. He looked much older. He had a deep voice, and he was hot. Okay, like in a fictional way and aesthetically, he was pretty hot, and he was even like he was average built, right? He wasn't chubby. He had a nice stomach. He did, right? All smooth and all like maybe like how like a Filipino boy would look like. I don't know. If I ever think about the country he's from, right? I mean, if I were to think of like the country name, I'll think of him. It actually makes sense. Let me check out my pizza once more. I think it's done. Okay, at least for now. I don't want to like overburn it. I know I could just microwave it, but that's basically what actually has happened to me growing up, because I do have deep trust issues with anyone, definitely boys for sure, and that's why I don't really tend to develop friendships. And also, one thing I wanted to share about this episode as well. I mean, it's just great that they're talking about their emotions, and even like on Christina's side, I forgot to mention this, is that she basically cried that masturbation is wrong. It's not, by the way. Trust me, if it is, then we want to be having private parts, to touch ourselves with, right? Um, by her saying that you love your partner less. No, wait, I think it's the other way around. Your partner loves you less because if you masturbate. And I just can't imagine that. Like basically, like being less lovable just because you masturbate. Like your partner's not with you all the time and you want to release and get some stress or something, right? I can't explain it, but this hearing her story, it was really emotional because let's just say that if there's like a boy that I like and I'm not with him, right? And I would think about him. I would feel like I don't deserve him because if I would, but I don't think that's cheating though. As long as you don't flirt, like if you masturbate to porn and you're in a long distance, like it's just porn. It's a fantasy, right? It's not like you're flirting with someone and sexting them. That's much different. I don't know. Okay, I never been in a relationship, so I don't know, and I don't think I even am prepared for a relationship. And that's to share on Amanda's side. Okay, I might as well just expose her. She basically lost her virginity at 41. And honestly, that takes a lot of courage to wait that long. Just to basically listen to someone. Because one, she's not ready. And two, she wants to discover more about herself. And three, um, people tend to thinking that if a woman, because like how one of the girls said, you don't have to, there's no like timer that, let's just say that your peach is cooked from the oven, right? Like let's just say the man wants to have his peachy pumpkin pie, right? He like you don't need to lose your virginity too early at an age. Like, let's just say maybe like when you start high school, or like really late, like when you're middle age and whatnot. It just depends on the person. However, though, I guess you could say from like really late, people tend to thinking, or men especially, thinking that if a woman loses her virginity like in her maybe 30s or heck 40s, like Amanda, because she's 45, right? So she lost her virginity 4 years ago. It would make her less desirable of a woman. That's prickly cred. Because you know what? There are women out there that do not want to have sex, or they just want to basically focus on themselves as, a human being, and basically developing themselves and having life experiences like on their jobs, or maybe just their personality, or like hobbies that they like, and not worrying about a man to basically date with. It's something like that, right? And that's why I consider myself as a virgin, because, well, those are horrible experiences. Like, for me personally, I thinking to lose my virginity is, if the boy were asked to kiss me, right? And I would say yes, and then he liked me, then I would consider losing my. I don't know. I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. Maybe if I don't know. To be honest, I don't. Like, it's like, frick. It's difficult for me to actually say. Like, maybe if he's told me, like, if we both like each other, right? And maybe if we had, like, physical contact, and I guess you could say we, like, both orgasm consensually, then I would say that we he took my virginity, right? And that does not have to do with anal or oral sex. It's just, like, releasing my body to him, but consensually. Like, I don't know, maybe I'm just, like, releasing part of my soul, which is my liquid, to his body or something. And if he basically liked me, well, like, he needs to like me first, and then we can do that, and then I'll say that, okay, I lost my virginity by a boy I really like, because it's both consensually, right? Something like that. It actually makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. It's really complicated, but that's how I would see it, I suppose. And there's something wrong with being a virgin in your 30s or 40s, or even later than that. Like, people tend to tell me that there's something wrong with me just because I'm not mentally mature to even date someone. I mean, I know there'd be, like, let's just say 16-year-olds that already, or like parents like 16 and pregnant, like the TV show you see on MTV, or even having children. My mother, she basically was pregnant with her oldest brother, or gave birth when she was 16, going on 17. I think that's a healthy age. Well, it is young, but it's not too young, right? Like 16, okay, like, you're practically almost a grown woman, right? But I don't know. It's hard to explain it. It really is. It's just everyone's different, right? I mean, as long as you basically, like, reach puberty and, being, like, physically developed or mentally in a way. I don't know. Everyone's different. But I just thought this was, like, a really cute episode, because it taught me a lot that, women have the same struggles as men do. And for Amanda, she basically said it herself. I thought could actually just play if y'all could actually hear the audio. This is, like, really important on what she said. Okay, after Christina's speech.
We're too early, and there's no right time objectively.
But I think there is a part of sexual empowerment, too, where you can draw your own boundaries, and you don't feel like you have to owe anybody sex. What I was looking for was a committed and loving relationship, and it's hard. It's really hard to find that out there.
I agree with her, because honestly, especially, like, dating these days, it's more difficult because, we basically, it's kind of like going to a GameStop, right? You basically look at all of these gorgeous games, and you do not know which one to choose from. You want to play, well, my favorite, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, right? That'd be like the boy that I want to date. However, though, there is a game I kind of wanted to try, which is, like, Deon, what game would it be? Maybe Splatoon 3 that came out a little while ago. I want to try that game out. But yet again, I don't want to be committed with it. I want to rent the game like I'm hooking up with a boy in a way, right? Smash Bros. Ultimate would be my boyfriend because it's a game I'm committed, which means that's the only game I prefer to be around with. Unless I'm polyamorous, then it'd be multiple games, right? I don't know. I just thought I could use like a gaming metaphor. It actually makes sense. I have to be apologized. I've been talking for so long because, oh my goodness, like Deon, you've been talking for a half hour, haven't you? I have. Crazy. But yeah, it's just that this is like a really, interesting topic I just wanted to share, and I just hope that you actually enjoy hearing my thoughts and all, and I don't know, it's really fascinating. Like for me, I'm still trying to like discover more about myself. Especially after I lost my stupid state ID, I had to bring that up again. I'm so disappointed in myself because I felt like I lost part of myself. That's because I lost that. The reason why I went to rent on it is because I must have lost it back in January or something. And, like that state ID, it would have took me to like a gay bar I could have probably visited, even though I would avoid them at all costs. I had awful experiences at gay bars. I should have mentioned that. Maybe going to GameStop and trading in a game, which is like hooking up with another boy, but consensually, right? And I'm just still trying to grieve over losing that. I don't know. Just so you know, I already shared about that from the poor tuber video. It's something that I cherished and I lost it. So I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I lost more of myself. I think it because for me personally, it was a good photo I took of myself back after I left high school, and I'm not gonna get it back. So I don't know. I just had to run on this because I don't know. I just don't know because I guess you could. I want to say self hate. Okay, I don't like that term, but basically for me, I just feel like my identity is still missing, and I'm still trying to discover myself, like how I lost my state ID. Right? Whomever out there in Arizona probably found it, which I hope they have. I don't know what the heck I did with it. I mean, I know it could be anywhere, but if I dropped on the ground and someone found it, I hope to Buddha's belly they kept it, and if they ever bump into me, it would be a miracle if they would actually like, oh, Deon, you found your I found your state ID. I would love them as a human being for life. I mean, even as a stranger, right? And yes, it has my full name in cursive. So yeah, other than that, I just had to just get that out of my system because I don't know. I've been going through a lot of thinking and like always wonder like why life has to be so darn complicated, and it just is. I suppose. But yeah, other than that, this is like a really educational video for me because schools need to definitely teach like students about like sex education. I think middle school and up they should, because my brother he basically learned about this stuff, but I haven't not until I was 6. Well, they didn't teach us. They only teach us about reproduction and all, but that's like a biology class. It wasn't really, well, it's not sex ed. It's just biology, right? That's it, really. So yeah, it's really difficult for me to actually explain, but other than that, I've been talking for like 33 minutes and my piece is done, and I'll probably eat like the first half as I get this posted, or probably the whole thing. I don't know. I just hope that you actually enjoyed this like little talk, and I just hope that this was educational, and I just thought I can actually share more about myself. So other than that, thank you all so much for listening, and yeah, I think that's all I can actually just share for now. And also, like what Minda says, because it is really hard to find someone out there to love, right? I just want to say that do not feel pressured, or do not feel that you owe anyone sex. It sucks that for me, personally, like saying no means no. And there's something wrong with saying no. And so there's a yes. Better not to say no.